Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm Simon and today I'm here to have a chat with you looking back at 2024 and looking forward into 2025. We're going to be talking about reading, we're going to be talking about the library, we're going to talk about the channel, we're going to talk about work, we're going to talk about everything in between, because I asked on Instagram for you to suggest things that you'd like to hear about from last year and looking forward to next year or this year. As I'm filming this is 2024, but it'll be going live at the start of 2025 and actually might be the first video of 2025, so happy new year to you. Maybe reward yourself with a treat every time I get the year wrong and call it this year or last year or whatever, because I mean we're in betwixtmas. I don't even know what day it is, frankly, today. Genuinely don't actually. That's quite exciting and terrifying. You came up with loads of brilliant questions, like I said, about reading, about the channel and everything in between. And the way that we're going to do this is we'll start with some reading stats for 2024 and then we'll look back at 2024 and bookish stuff, non-bookish stuff, the whole shebang, and then we'll look forward to 2024, finishing with, I mean, lots of you asked about cats, lots of you asked about the library, lots of you asked about reading and the channel. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. I've got a cup of tea. I'm going to have a quick sip of it now because I probably won't stop for breath, let alone a sip of tea, for however long this video takes. I should have said that was also your opportunity to go and get yourself something. Right, in terms of reading, lots of you asked how many books I'd read, all that kind of stuff, and I just want to give a shout out, and I hope that I do this every year. Storygraph, which I think is an incredible black-owned business that is not run by Amazon like Goodreads is. You can export your data from Goodreads onto Storygraph so that you've still got all of your past reading stuff, but I love it. It creates really good pie charts and all those things, which I shall include here. So in terms of how many books that I read in 2024, I read 118 books, or will have, because I'm including the ones that I haven't quite finished yet, but as this goes live, hopefully I will have. I don't think I'll have snuck any more in, because by the time you see this, I'm hoping to have filmed a video where I talk about every single book that I read in 2024. That's going to be quite the ordeal for both of us. Now, I'm not really fussed on numbers, but lots of you like them, so there we go. Genres I spent the most time with in 24, literary was the biggest one, then contemporary, then LGBTQIA+, then historical, then mystery, which is kind of reflective of my taste, really. The average length of the books that you read was 283 pages, and it took you around 3 days to finish each book. Didn't know that. My average rating was 4.05 stars. That's a pretty good year, I think. A pretty good average for a year. Uh-oh, we're getting a bit of sun interference here because it has gone very suddenly, which I don't want to moan about, but does play havoc when you're trying to record content using natural light. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, and lucky for some, but lucky for me, 13 5-star reads, and I would have inserted some of the images from that there. Now, another big question that came up was what was my favourite read of 2024. You'll have to wait until I do my best books of the year video, which I think will be the Sunday after this video goes live, I think. I hope. I got asked how did I feel about my reading year in general, and I will say that for me it was mid-year, which sounds a bit meh, but it wasn't a bad year, so I don't feel like about it. It wasn't an amazing year, and at the end of this video I'll talk about how I kind of plan on making my reading year an amazing one in 2025. The other question that I got a lot was how did I feel about 2024 as a year overall? And my answer is going to be moderate to good. So there were some elements of my year that I thought were brilliant, like I've got to interview some incredible authors throughout this year. I've got to do some really fun things with Mum. I've got to go to some really nice places. I've got to belly laugh ridiculously with some of my friends, and that has been a real treat. There's been areas that have been tricky that I kind of don't really want to talk about on the internet, but yeah, there have been some lows. Overall, it's been, yeah, moderate to good, which I think after the last, 4 years with the pandemonium pandapop, actually to have a moderate to good year is really, 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 really great. And I'm hoping that 2025 will be, although I don't want to jinx it, a good to very good year. I'm not going to go for excellent yet. I might put that on 2026, but I'm going to go for good to very good. That would make me happy, but we'll talk more about 2025 later. I'm getting ahead of myself. Lots of you like the number 3 because lots of you are asking for my top 3 like fun moments of 2024. One is definitely some of the events that I've got to do. One particular highlight, both professionally, personally, and also because I know it meant a huge amount to someone else, my mother, was when Mum and I hosted Mary Beard in Cambridge. That was a proper pinch me moment for me. I adore Mary Beard, possibly not quite as much as Mum does. Like, Mum is a super duper fan. Mum's a classicist, and obviously Mary Beard is. So for us to do that and to do that together was a really, 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 really special moment.
I'm going to move you a little bit forward because the sun is starting to be an absolute cheeky what's it with its hat on.
My second one was when I got to do falconry earlier this year. Like, that was amazing. For anyone who's known me for any length of time, you will know that I'm kind of birds of prey, mildly obsessed. Like, if I see a bird of prey in a car through the window, I just lose myself. I'm like, oh my God, look, 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 it's amazing, it's amazing. I do really love animals. I do really love nature, to the point of sometimes my mum referring to me as Dr. Dolittle, because I will try and befriend pretty much any animal. We'll talk about the cat distribution system later. My third favourite one, there's been lots of lovely travel this year, and I feel very, very lucky to have been able to go, although I did get really sick in Ortigia, woe is me. But doing a trip earlier in December where I took Chris away for a long weekend, and he had no idea where we were going, and I had to keep it secret for weeks. And actually, he didn't find out until we got to the airport. You can see that in a vlog that I've done, because we went to Amsterdam, sorry, I should have said. That whole thing was just lovely. And I guess, I mean, the Raptor thing was very much a me thing, but one of the things that I've really enjoyed most this year are moments where, like, I've made other people have happy moments. Oh, this lighting is not giving me a happy moment, is it? We'll deal with it. If it suddenly gets to the point where it's like gone ridiculous and it looks like I'm Book Jesus, then I will stop. Quite a few of you asked me like what have been the career highlights for me. I guess in terms of doing events, which is one part or one of the various different jobs that I do, and that came up as a big question actually. There were loads of questions that were kind of just general questions about what I did for work. One of my favourite questions was what is my favourite cheese, etc. And I'd quite like to do a Q&A where I just answer anything that you ever want to ask. So I'm going to collect questions over the next few months and then do that video. So any general questions I've kind of, that weren't based around 2024 or 2025, I have kept and we'll use them, but we'll be asking for more as the year goes on. I'm having a bookish Jesus moment. We're back, sun banished. I kicked over the tripod, so we're in a slightly different position now. Where were we though? I want to say career highlights rather than career accomplishments, I guess. The absolute highlights, for there were 2 of them in 2024, were with my part-time day job. So I work for a libraries charity 3.5 days a week, and I got to work firstly on a project raising money to buy and refurbish a mobile library and send it to Ukraine with books on it. And I was going to go, but that just got logistically a bit too crazy, although I would have loved to. And then the other one was that I was part of a project twinning 22 library services across the UK and Northern Ireland with 22 libraries in Ukraine. And that has been, actually, I would say, life-changing. To be able to support a country and libraries and the people working there and going there was just, I think it is one of the proudest moments that I've ever had. Then, and this was a really, really nice question that was very specific, but I'm going to use it like more broadly, because I was asked what it was like to meet Sarah from Your True Shelf, which is a channel that you should all be following if you are not. Sarah and I have known each other over, I think it's like 15 years on the internet, and we finally met in real life this year, and it was an absolute joy. Meeting people for the first time who I've been talking to for any length of time on the internet in real life has been incredible. So Sarah was one. I got to interview Christos Cholkis, that was amazing, and then I got to meet Charlotte Wood. We've been DMing on socials for like over a decade, and we got to meet in real life at a publishing party and just had the best time having a right old natter, and I would love a lot more of that in 2025. Those have been some of my favourite moments, along with, I should say, the moments where I've got to say hello to some of you be it in bookshops or just random places. That's been a real treat too. And yeah, just lovely to have those interactions and to get to meet the people that I'm technically talking to, which sounds very odd and a little bit grandiose when actually currently I'm just talking to myself, quite literally. I can just see me talking to me right now. Then I got the question, what has most surprised me about myself in 2024? I think the biggest thing that has surprised me in 2024 has been the fact that I have enjoyed having time off. I took the whole of August off, I think from BookTube, as well as doing Events Bar 1, which was Anton Hurt, another person who's fabulous, who I've been speaking to for ages on the internet and then got to meet in real life. That was a real highlight too. Sorry, Anton, you are my number one hun, so I should have mentioned that way earlier. And this is what I mean about not liking having favourites, because you always feel like you miss people out. And in September, I think I took off bar 1 event, which was with Kate Atkinson. And then the biggest surprise to me actually was when I went away to Lanzarote for a week, and all I did was sit by the pool or go to the buffet and read. That was literally it. And in the past, I found those sort of holidays quite unappealing. I did do one for my 40th, which I quite enjoyed, but did quite a few excursions as well. However, didn't even do an excursion, didn't even really leave the hotel bar than once. And then I was like, actually, I'd quite like to go back, please. I'm enjoying just being sort of away from everything. So that has been quite an insight to me, and is something that, again, I'm going to take forward into 2025. And then finally, a question that takes us from 2024 into 2025 really nicely is, what am I leaving behind in 2024 and what am I taking into 2025? And I say what I want to leave behind in 2024 is extreme imposter syndrome, which I sometimes get, although I think a little bit is quite good to have, because then you don't become a dickhead. But also I quite like the nerves that can bring, and I think if I ever start to do events or start to even film actually and not feel a tiny little bit nervous before, it means that I've stopped caring, and that's time to stop. I think taking into 2025, like I said, all the things that I've learned about the fact that I do like a break, about the fact that I do want to capture more for me, that then hopefully you will also enjoy, but we'll talk about that with the channel and a few changes that are going to be coming. So the next question was, because we're going to get to, as I mentioned, cats most importantly, because lots of questions about that. Cats Libraries channel reading at the end of this video. Another question that I loved that lots of you asked, I thought it was a really nice question, is what am I most looking forward to in 2025? I have to say, one of the things that I'm ridiculously excited about is that I'm going to be seeing Kylie, who I've loved since I was about 3 or 4, but not in the UK, because ticket prices for gigs in the UK have got stupid, and for the price of 1 ticket at the back of Liverpool or Manchester Arena, I've managed to get 2 right at the front in Lisbon that I'm super duper looking forward to. But also I'm looking forward to the unknown. I don't know what this next year is going to hold. I'm quite excited about that. Who knows what events I'll do, who knows what different work gigs might crop up. I would really, and actually this links to the next question, which is any work/play plans. I would love at some point, if I was able to go and work in a different country. That's something that I have had the pleasure of doing once when I did a placement in New York, but I have not done since. My dream would be to do like a tour of Australian literary festivals, hosting some of my favourite authors from Australia in Australia. That would also involve me going to Korea on the way to hang out with Nathan of Nathan's Nook and obviously Anton. But that's like not actually a plan. That's just like dream wise. So in terms of though work and play plans, I know that there's going to be some more Women's Prize book clubs. The next one will be Sarah Waters, which will be in, well, as this is going live, later this month on the 28th of January at Story House, and also online. Please come along in real life or join us on the Tinterweb, because that would be lovely. I'll try to remember to put those down below. I can't tell you what the other one's coming up, but there are 2 more in the diary before the winner of the 30th Women's Prize for Fiction will be announced. And then in terms of play, one of the things that I'm really keen to do this year is to spend more time, more quality time with the people I love. I don't get to see some of my closest friends as often as I would like, and that's because we've become more sort of dispersed, be it around the country or be it around the world, spending more time with the people I love and having a lovely time with them somewhere lovely. That is one of the things. I mean, somewhere lovely could be here, inviting them here to this house. It could be at their house. It could be little weekends away. Hey everyone, this is Editing Simon, and firstly, apologies for how chaotic this video is. So many lighting changes, now outfit changes. I forgot stuff because of the lighting changes, and one of the things that I forgot was that with my plans for 2025 in terms of play, I want to see more movies, go and see more art exhibitions, go to the theatre more, and listen to more music live and just in general. And linking on from lovely places, a question that loads of you asked was, what are my travel plans for 2025? As I mentioned, I'm going to be in Lisbon in the summer to see Kylie. I have and ahed about whether I might go to Canada while Canada Reads is on, because I would love to do that. I think it's going to be a bit ad hoc. I quite like the idea of doing some surprise trips. Sorry, I stopped and started there because it was getting a bit dark and a bit grainy. I may turn into Bookish Jesus again at some point, but until then, let's at least be brighter, shall we? Lots of you asked a question that was speaking one of my favourite languages, and that is the language of stationery, because many of you asked what stationery, planners or diaries I was planning on getting to plan 2025. So much planning there, loads. Aptly, I only just the other day treated myself to a new notebook for 2025, and it is this one. The reason that I bought this was I was just drawn to the pear, which firstly is one of my favourite fruit, and secondly I just think will be a conversation starter. Why have I got a juicy pear? I'm going to be asking if I preferred plain paper, dotted paper or lined. I just like a good old lined. I also got these, which are metallic Bic biros. Now, this may make me seem pretty basic, but I absolutely love a Bic biro, probably more than any other pen, and I could not resist these silver and gold ones. I feel like they're going to give me some right snazz in 2025. So I got those. And then the calendar that I like to have, ideally, on the wall, is between the diary and the kitchen, and it means that I catch a glimpse at it quite often. And sometimes I'm renowned for just leaving a diary wherever it happens to have been put down and then forget about it. However, the format of calendar that I love the most is one where it starts on a Monday. It's not too big so that people can go wild with filling it in, but it's not too small that you can't read it. And this year's calendar of choice is the Vincent van Gogh 2025 calendar that I got at the Van Gogh Museum. I'm a great believer that the week starts on a Monday. The whole thing about Sunday being the start of the week, I'm just not sure about. In terms of though my diaries, shock horror, I've binned off passion planners. I really loved passion planners for a few years, and I would always get the ones that started on a Monday, not on a Sunday, but at least they gave you the option. But I found that the columns in them were a bit restrictive, and they also stopped at like 9 p.m. So sometimes you had chunks that were empty and then suddenly filled with loads of stuff, and it just wasn't working for me. So what I've done is I've got myself a small day-to-day diary, so day per page, which is a moleskin, which I got cheap in TK Maxx, because as I mentioned before, TK Maxx is corking for stationery, and this is going to be in my bag and just go around with me here and there. Then I have what is going to be sort of more my overall Bible of what's going on, and that is another moleskin that I also got in TK Maxx, not sponsored, just where I got them, which is a month to view calendar. Sorry, the light means you can't quite see that. And this I'm going to use to put in any sort of events that I'm doing, content for here, for Patreon, not for Instagram necessarily, let's not go too wild. Now, before we head to the big important questions around cats, the library, the channel and reading, a question that came up that I thought was really sweet, but I didn't think really applied to me, but apparently it does. Oh, look at me, shame on me with my holy jumper on. The question that I got that I, like I said, didn't think applied to me was, what are my plans to continue spreading queer joy in the new year? I wasn't aware I was spreading queer joy, but I'm kind of delighted to hear that. And I guess the answer to that is I don't really know. But if you've got any suggestions, please let me know in the comments below, along with other suggestions that I'm going to ask you for in a bit. But yeah, that question really sort of brought a lot of joy to me, and it's delightful to hear that I'm spreading queer joy. For some reason, that sounds really euphemistic to me, spreading queer joy, and a little bit naughty, but maybe I need to be more naughty in 2025. Editing Simon again, just trying to find some light now. Oh, the light has been a problem in this video. But just wanted to mention, on the naughty note, I have started the year officially quite naughtily because on the 1st of January, I accidentally put some pictures on Instagram that really shouldn't be for public consumption. That's all I'm going to say. If you saw them, I'm sorry. If you didn't, you don't know what I'm talking about and nothing happened. Thank you. Let's all move on. Now we head to the stuff that you've probably all been waiting for and wish that I'd got over the rest of quicker, frankly. And that is, first up, cats. Are you planning on having any more cats? How many cats do you have now? What's going on with the cats? What are each of their backstories? And if more cats appear in the garden in 2025, are you going to keep them? Right, let's break this down a little bit, although I feel like maybe if I can work a bookish way of doing it, it would be quite fun to do a cat-based video. I even am thinking about maybe doing like a week in cat or something, which I love that Elizabeth Day does on Instagram, and I do once as a video for Patreon, and people seem to quite enjoy it. So anyway, I started 2024 with 2 cats, the OGs, Oscar and Mildred. Then a third cat appeared in the garden. At first I just thought it was a new cat on the block. Then I realised it looked quite sad, and then I left some food out for it and spied, and it basically made a home in the former Wendy house in the garden that the previous owners left, that I just think is really cute, and had popped a window on because I wanted foxes to nest in it. But there appeared George, and George, once he became friendly, was absolutely delightfully affectionate, and once I could pick him up, we took him to the vets, and then I had the horrible tragedy, and it's the saddest moment of me for 2024, although also really happy, was that took him to the vets. He had been chipped. He'd been missing for 6 months. He'd travelled over 35 miles. He was not called George, he was called Toulouse, and he was reunited with his owner, but taken from us very quickly without us being allowed to say goodbye, which was really sad. And having tried to look on loads of websites for missing ginger cats, I had spotted one nearby that needed a home, and he was called Joey. He's a Biscuit, and Biscuit was my birthday present to myself this year. His adoption fee was my birthday present to myself this year. Recently I got a comment that really upset me, where someone said Oscar and Millie must be really distressed with all these new cats, because there's another one that I'm going to talk about. They haven't been. There have been teething problems, but that happens with cats. But one thing that I realised when George was here was that I had the space and the love for another cat, and so yeah, that's how Biscuit ended up here. And he has had a tricky time in his life. He's very affectionate. He really likes sitting on you, but he doesn't really like to be fussed, which, because he's so cute and because I've always wanted a ginger cat, I just want to fuss him, and he just really isn't into it, apart from when he wants to hump you, and then he's very much into it. Anyway, moving on. So that was Biscuit, and then randomly in June, a grey cat with the most incredible orange eyes was spotted. This new cat then appeared on the landing in this house with the other 3 not bothered at all. It was like they were just having a cat catch up, oh dear. Because after that, ran away, didn't see him for a while. But then, slowly but surely became friendly. My Dr. Dolittle kicked in again and has sort of moved in. He's called Earl, and from the picture you'll probably be able to guess why he has been named Earl. Oh great, I know. But actually the technical name is Earl Bergamo Savage. And checked for chips. Inconclusive was the response, and the current status with Earl is that he is a foster cat, because there are databases that can be checked for any missing pedigrees, and he is a pedigree. He's delightful. He arrived in a really dreadful state. He was really knotty and greasy and very nervous. Now really affectionate, absolutely loves beds, loves cuddles, and yeah, is a joy. I have been surprised how people have got so invested in the cats this year. I can understand why, because all 4 of them are gorgeous. Well, 5 if we include George, and I should say Biscuit's middle name is George. I'm okay with the fact that Earl is a foster cat for now, because I've been through the having to pass one on, and the fact that, well, I had 2 that I loved, now I have 3, and then a tentative 4 is delightful. So that's the way that I'm choosing to look at it. So that is the cat situation. Lovely that so many of you have loved, you know, that journey, and also loved the fox can't forget the fox. There is a new fox on the block, and I'm determined in 2025 to try and get it to eat out of my hand, which has caused some concern from people close to me. Keep saying the word rabies. Anyway, next up, the library, because yes, that's also been a most asked question of late, and what is going on with it, because it looks exactly like it did at the beginning of 2024. Even though I did say at one point I was going to pack it all up and decorate it, it just hasn't happened because life got too busy. I am planning on doing it in 2025. I have started and will carry on sorting the shelves for 2025 and culling on a grand scale. I'll be making content, not of the culling necessarily, but of the sorting for Patreon. But what I will be doing is, when I do the overhaul, that's content that I'll be making here. One thing that I have decided on, which I'm really glad that I've had that space, is one, there are certain colours I thought I wanted and I don't, but actually I want to try and do a library refurb, only buying things secondhand. The shelves are not going to change, the shelves are going to be exactly the same, but in terms of any new furniture items, because I would like a new sofa here. This is not comfortable to sit on particularly, because I don't curl up in here at all really, and I would like to do that more. So that is the latest with the library, and the big bit of learning that I took from that, and it's something that I have mentioned a few times on this channel, is not to say I'm going to do something on a specific date or to promise certain changes or content or anything like that, and just try to go with the flow more and just see what happens. So that's that. On that note, that nicely segues into the channel for 2025 and what are my plans for the channel. I'm aware that I've been quite sporadic this year, so my aim is going to be to do 2 videos every week. One on Thursday, which will be specifically bookish, and then on a Sunday I'm going to be doing weekly vlogs from the second Sunday in January, because the first Sunday of January I'll do my best books of 2024. As I've said, you know, I really want to capture the things that I love more, mainly for me, but also hopefully for enjoyment for you, if that makes sense. And there are certain vlogging channels that I really love, that I've been taking inspiration on and possibly binging on over the Christmas period. Lizzie Hadfield and Brittany Bathgate mainly. And whilst like I'm not going to try and copy them or even think that I could do the stuff they do, it's given me some ideas of what I would like to share, both in terms of booky stuff, because there will still be booky things in those vlogs, but also non-booky stuff, because I think a big bit of learning that I've had from 2024 is that at the moment I would say my life is 95% books, and I don't think that's really healthy, and I would much prefer that it was about 75% books, maybe even, let's say it could go down to 65, I don't know, because there's other things I love, like I've mentioned food, travel when I get the lucky chance to, stationery. I've got an allotment this year. That is sort of the plan with the channel. If in any given week I suddenly have the urge to make an extra video, I will either stockpile it, or if it's timely, like at the end of the month with wrap-ups and hauls, there can be a lot of content at one point, I will do an extra video on a Tuesday. But the main plan is to do a bookish video on a Thursday, and then a bookish vlog with extra things I love in it on a Sunday. So hopefully you like that idea, but I would love in the comments below for you to tell me what you'd like to see in videos and vlogs on the channel going forward. That would be fabulous. I'd love to do some collabs. I'd love to go and do some stuff in different bookshops around the country. I mean, I've got loads of different ideas. Last but not least, what are my reading plans for 2025? And the main one I've got is to work out what kind of reader I am. I feel like I've got a little bit lost in the last few years, partly because, as I was saying, I feel like I've got to a point where there's so much bookish stuff in my life. There were points this year I was like, I don't want to talk, or last year as this goes live, there were points where I was like, I don't want to talk about books anymore. I'm not here for it. And, you know, I'm very lucky in the fact that I get to work, not predominantly, but quite a lot in the bookish field, and that's great, and I wouldn't want that to change. But in terms of like what I really love and what savage catnip is for me book-wise, I'm not quite sure. How am I going to work that out? I have 3 videos that I want to make this year, the first of which will go live in a couple of weeks, about what my plans are for that, which some of you may be right cheesed off that you've got to the end of this video and I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell you exactly what they are until a couple of videos time, but I'm still working it out and I don't want to rush myself. And yeah, I just need to work out exactly the direction. But there's a few little mini projects that I might give a whirl to see how my taste aligns to previous particular moments in my reading life. Also maybe try different genres that I haven't before, or head back to some that I used to really love. I used to be a bit of a fantasy head. You might not think that now, but it's true. So yeah, that's where we are. Oh, that's a bit too much light. Oh goodness, let's turn that off. But last but not least, I just wanted to say apologies that I didn't talk about when I was talking about reading, book buying or anything like that. So I will include that in my reading plans video when that comes as the first of 3 videos about working out what reader I am. Right, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it's been utterly bonkers, but let's start the year as we need to go on. It's going to be hopefully fun time finding out what sort of reader I am in 2025. Hopefully you'll enjoy following me along, and there'll be obviously the hauls, the wrap-ups, the core content, let's go with that people love on BookTube, and I do certainly, but also there will be those vlogs, like I said, which I'm really enjoying watching at the moment from other people, alongside any content that you would like to suggest in the comments below. And actually there will be a way for you all to get to pick what I read a bit this year. And alongside all of that, of course, I'll be doing the Savage reading prompts, which the video announcing them should have gone live on Mum's channel yesterday as this goes live. All that timey-wimey thought in my head. Anyway, I've wanged on for ages. I need to edit the funk out of this. Let me know if you'd like more unedited videos in 2025, because I have done a few throughout the year, and yeah, some people really like the edits and the zooming in and out and the going black and white, and some people just like it to be unedited and more chatty and informal. Maybe I'll just keep mixing it up depending on what's going on. I suppose the vlogs will be super duper edited because I do really enjoy the challenge of an edit, I won't lie. But then sometimes I also get sick of seeing my own face, frankly. I say sometimes, often. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you for your questions. If you've got any more questions about anything, leave them in the comments below. Like I said, I'll be collecting them up until my birthday in March, and then I'll do sort of like a reintroducing myself video, because I think that might be quite good fun, and answering anything. Ask me anything. Anything. Well, not that. Before I go, I just want to say a huge thank you for all of the bookish chat in 2024, along with some of the fab recommendations that you've given me. And here's to a fabulous year of reading for all of us in 2025, and any other non-bookish shenanigans that we'll want to get up to or just accidentally get up to along the way. I will see you in another video. Oh, my best books of 2024 video on Sunday. There may be some more extra content on my Patreon in between now and then, which is always linked down below, along with my Instagram, which I'm going to be better at in 2025, my Blue Sky, which I've very recently joined and I'm really enjoying, and also there's my wish list, which you know, I mentioned helping pick what I read in 2025. That's part of that. That's it from me. I'm gonna go. I hope you're all doing super duper well. I hope you've started the year off with a fabulous book, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.